Hey everyone, and welcome to a little mobility flow with me. We're going to go ahead and just get started. So let's go ahead and have everybody find a space. Maybe you have a yoga mat, maybe you're in the grass outside somewhere. We're going to go ahead and start in a quadruped position. So quadruped position, our knees are underneath our hips, our wrists are underneath our shoulders. And we're just gonna start with a few cat-cows. You can do anywhere from 5 to 10, whatever you feel comfortable with. We're probably gonna stick with the number 6 a lot today, just so we can move through this rather quickly, and then you can develop your own pattern as you go. So as we do this, we wanna make sure our fingers are pointing forward, our fingers are spread out, gripping the ground. From here, you're going to rotate those elbows back so that the line points in front of you. As we are here, we're going to pull that belly button up, rounding our spine like an angry Halloween cat. You can go ahead and drop your chin as you breathe in, and then breathe out. Arch your back, shoulders pull down into your back pockets, and eyes go towards the ceiling. Go ahead and breathe in, come up into that angry cat and cow. Angry cat, shoulder blades spread apart, really driving through the ground, pulling that belly button in, and breathing out, shoulder blades towards those back pockets. Few more. Two more. And last one, breathing in. All right, from here we're going to go into a child's pose, so you can go ahead and bring your big toes together, knees come out to the side. You're going to drive those hips back, the top of our feet are on the ground, reaching those arms in front. For a few breaths here. Now, if we wanted to stretch a little bit of our sides, go ahead, take your left hand, you're gonna reach it over top of the right. Bring that right arm out from underneath. You'll feel a stretch, maybe in that tricep, all the way through the shoulder, down into the lat. So go ahead and take about 2 or 3 deep breaths here. If your seat doesn't reach the back of your heels, you guys are sitting up a little bit, that's fine. In time, we can practice getting our glutes all the way to our heels. So let's go ahead and take our right hand, bring it over top of the left, bring that left hand out from underneath, and go ahead and take another 2 or 3 nice deep breaths here. If that position is a little uncomfortable for you at first, you can go ahead and just groove that pattern, groove your way into it. Otherwise, you can hop right in. So from here, we're gonna go ahead and go into our hip circles. What I'd like to do for this one, just so we can kind of get acquainted, is pulling the heel all the way up towards our glutes. We wanna try to maintain leveled hips and square hips to the ground. So try to keep that torso pointing straight to the ground. From here, we're really driving into the ground with our hands as well, so the shoulder blades come apart. So as we're here, we're gonna go ahead and take that knee, you're gonna point it to the back wall behind you, bring that knee out to the left, and then back down. So knee comes back, out to the side, and down. If you feel some popping in your hips here, it's a very common thing, but maybe we can try to work on some stability and strengthening of our hips. But after we do about 5 or 6 there, we're gonna go ahead and rotate the other direction. So keeping that heel up into the glute, bring that knee forward, out to the side, and then pointing it back. Four and 5. Same thing on the other side, bring that heel up, knee goes back, out to the side and around. So yeah, if you feel a lot of cracking, don't freak out. It may just mean that we need to strengthen our hips a little bit, provide a little bit more stability for our joints, which we'll be able to do. And then we're gonna rotate the other direction. So bring that knee forward, out to the side, and back. Now, if we do all these correctly, you may feel a lot of tension building up throughout your body. It's actually what we're looking for, as long as you can maintain your breathing during that time. So now we're gonna go ahead and go into our T-spine rotation. So what I want you to do is go ahead and place your right hand on the ground, really engage your shoulders. So you're really gonna push into the ground with that hand, pushing your body away. Now, if you're a beginner, I like to start with our hand behind our head. We're just gonna reach our elbow underneath, our left elbow underneath our right elbow, and then reaching all the way up to the sky with the same elbow, eyes are following. Now, if this seems really easy for you, you guys can go ahead and extend your left arm and really reach underneath, and then reach all the way up to the sky. I'm gonna go ahead and stay here with my hand behind my head. So we're really trying to think about rotating through the mid-back, which is why we have our hips on our heels. So making sure as we're here, we're rotating through that mid-back and then reaching all the way around and up to the sky. Breathe in as you reach underneath. Breathe out as you reach up. All right, from here, go ahead and put both hands on the ground. We're gonna go ahead and widen our knees so that our knees are outside of our hips, maybe about the width of the mat. All right, now from here, go ahead and extend your left leg out. Toes are going to point forward. And from here, keeping that leg nice and straight, you're just going to sit your hips back onto the heel of the foot that's back there. And then you're going to drive back up. So here, keeping our upper body engaged, really push those hips back. You're gonna feel a nice little stretch here in the groin or the adductors, and then pull yourself forward. Number 4. And 6. All right, so that's actually one of my favorites to do. And a little modification that we're gonna go into onto the other side as well is as we're here, we're actually going to rotate our toes up towards the sky, keeping our chest nice and big the entire time. This is gonna help us target the hamstrings. So a little bit of a stretch in the back of that leg. 4, 5, and 6. And going ahead and bringing that leg back in, switching sides, keeping that knee nice and wide, keeping that foot nice and flat at first. Four, 5, and 6. All right, now keeping that heel on the ground, we're gonna point those toes up for that hamstring stretch. 2, 3, definitely feel a little tighter on the left side. And coming back. Awesome. So now we're gonna go into something that's a little bit more challenging for our core and total body. Not that the others aren't challenging, but this one's definitely a challenge. We're gonna do what we call a bird dog. So our bird dog, we have one hand placed on the ground and then the diagonal knee, so the opposite knee and toes are driving into the ground. What we're doing here is we're gonna push through and we're going to try to maintain square hips and just being completely square to the ground here. Your elbow is going to come in, you're going to pick up the opposite knee while you're still driving into the ground to maintain tension throughout the body. And you're just going to reach your back heel for the wall and your fingertips towards the wall in front without leaning or shifting or wiggling, trying to maintain a nice body posture. 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now here we're going to go ahead and switch sides. So again, driving into the ground with that left hand, right knee, picking up that left foot, right hand, elbow knee to touch, and we're going to just reach back. Trying not to arch our back too much. We want to keep a nice neutral position. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Whew. A little tough. All right, from here, let's go ahead and get into a high plank position. From our high plank, we're gonna go into a downward dog. When we're in our downward dog, I don't know about you, I like to pedal out my feet a little bit. And then come back into that high plank. During that high plank, my shoulders are over my wrists and I'm on my tippy toes, trying not to let my hips sag or keeping my hips into the air. High plank, squeezing everything I've got here and then driving those hips up. You can wiggle around a little bit here just to get some movement. And then we're gonna go ahead and hang out into this high plank position. Now as we're here, we're gonna step our left foot forward. So picking up that left foot, you're gonna step forward next to your hand on the outside. Now from here, this is what we call a Spider-Man. You can either place your hand on your knee and give your knee a little nudge with your elbow. And then place your left hand back on the ground, send that foot back. Same thing on the right side. I like to give a nudge to my knee and then back. We're going to do about 5 of these on each side. Notice that when I'm in this position, I'm not dropping my knee, still maintaining tension throughout my entire body. Now if you want, you can keep that tension and drop that knee a little bit. You might feel a little bit more of a stretch in that hip flexor of the knee that's on the ground. So it might look a little bit like this. So if you're here, keeping that tension and dropping that knee, you really want to engage this glute by squeezing. Coming up, we'll do one more on each side. Notice I'm driving my knee forward. Awesome. All right, now from here, we're gonna go downward dog. Picking up our right leg, coming into a high plank, bring your knee to your right elbow, and then placing it down onto the ground for a pigeon pose or a modified pigeon pose, if you will. You guys can tell I'm a little tight in the glutes, hips overall really. But if you'd like, you can always drop down to your elbow. You'll probably feel a slightly larger stretch. Whew. Just make sure you're breathing a little bit. little bit, I mean a lot of it. Then from here, keeping that tension coming back up, I like to go straight from my downward dog, picking up that leg, knee to elbow, and then placing it down onto the ground. When I tell you I'm tighter on my left side, I'm so much tighter. Ah! So if you ever feel like the stretch is a little too much, feel free to back off. We don't want to go too hard with our stretching, but working through the movements, connecting our breath, and just making sure our bodies and our minds feel safe in this space. Awesome. All right, so before we end, I'm going to do one of my favorites, where I actually we get to lie down on our backs. From here, I'm going to bring my arms into a T, and both legs are out in front. I'm going to lift my left knee and take my right hand, gently pulling that knee across my body. And I'm going to keep my eyes focused on my left fingertips. Now, if you're doing this and you feel a few cracks in your back, that's totally okay. And you can release, come back. Same thing on the other side. You're going to bring your right knee up. Left hand reaches for the outside of that knee, gently pulling it over. Eyes stay onto your right fingertips. And you can go ahead and come up. So thank you so much for joining me for a few of my favorite mobility exercises. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me in the comments below. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great one.